Okay.
We're back round 2.
Okay, we're a minute late. We were talking about how good we were doing this time. How we got it all figured out and we were streaming. So just so you guys know, we're not late. We just weren't sharing the stream correctly.
Yeah, we were on a private Medicare cafe podcast.
Right.
For just Olivia and Carrie.
You know what the thing was? I had a great time.
We did have a really good time.
I really enjoyed.
You missed some really good information on Olivia's motorcycle days.
Yeah. And we were talking about, like she was asking me about my sentiments behind my rings and what they meant. And but halfway through, Carrie's like, listen, like we usually have at least
one person
watching. And it was still at 0. And I was just like, nah, man, like we're just not relevant anymore. People don't like us anymore. So
glad we checked.
And it's a good thing we checked. Welcome, guys. Let me check my text messages to make sure people weren't like, hey guys.
We also updated you guys that we have a legit, nice camera, not a webcam. So if we look really,
this is what
we need a filter. Like. Yeah, this is what we actually look like.
Does life come with a filter?
You can probably see my pores on my face.
You just don't have that. Like, listen.
You have pores. Everybody has pores on their face.
I know, but like some people have more predominant pores. And I'm some people. So welcome everybody. Aside from our new like realization of like, oh gosh, do we actually look like that? The answer is yes. Welcome everybody to the Medicare Cafe. We're excited for you guys to join us, getting into some really cool conversation. And what I wanted to talk about today, guys, was retention, the Unsung Hero. I genuinely am so excited about this. And the reason why we wanted to talk about this particularly is because you guys asked about it. Shout out to Paula.
I love
Paula.
it.
Yeah, she was asking some questions in the Medicare Cafe group. Like, hey, I want some ideas for retention. So Paula, shout out to you for getting out there and sparking some really good conversation. That's what it's there for. So
37 comments on that.
It was
nice.
It was really cool. So what I want to do today is kind of talk about like what I put down. Want to hear from tips and trips about Carrie, because again, Carrie does an incredible job. None of her people leave her. And if they do leave, they always call you and be like, I made a mistake, help me. So I wanted to just talk about some really good ideas for retention. Retention, it's something that I saw one of the comments in there was like, I don't work on retention because I think it's way easier to get new clients than to try to keep your current clients. But the term that they were using is way easier to make a baby than it is to raise the dead. Was their terminology for, which I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
I don't agree. As somebody who has given birth, I don't agree that's easier.
Don't agree that's easier.
But there is, there is something to be said about.
But then how do you not try to keep your clients?
Right. Well, they find, like, studies show that it's actually 5 times more expensive for you to gain a new client than it is to just continue to keep your current one. So there's a lot to be said about why retention is so important. Plus, if you look at other sales jobs, other industries that are kind of like ours, use the same structure. Like you look at real estate, things like that. Real estate is where I really pay attention to. They get paid up front for that first time. They don't see a dime after that initial sale.
Yep.
We are very different. We get
do.
Residual income.
Right.
So we actually, they find that if you're selling insurance, you actually really don't even turn a profit until year 2 of that policy. So it's really important because again,
keep them.
Exactly. Yeah. Client acquisition costs can be anywhere between even if like you're not even running leads. Just the fact of how it costs to do business can run anywhere from $180 to $400. And so for the commissions that you make off that one sale, if you're selling a MedSup or Medicare Advantage plan, you really don't make much of a profit, if any, until the second year.
I would be curious to see the retention rates of whoever it was that said that they don't focus on retention. I'm curious how many clients you lose each year.
And it's something that the idea is that it is something you have to pay attention to, something that you have a focus on. But let me tell you, one of the big mistakes, people who do focus on retention, oftentimes retention work, though it is really important, it keeps you really busy, but not productive. Being productive is you putting your name on an application and submitting it to a carrier.
Right.
That's productive. That's production. Yep. So oftentimes retention work, though it's incredibly important on the back end, is busy work. versus productive work.
But you can be efficient with it.
That's my girl.
Efficiency.
Efficiency is key here. So these are some ideas that we have to keep you productive, not busy, while also really focusing and maintaining on your retention. Yeah. So number 1, the first thing I want to talk about, guys, is going to be 7 contacts a year. That's just kind of something that we focus around. Is what's the best way to make sure you retain your book of business, and that's 7 contacts a year. Now, people will hear that and panic and be like, "You just said you don't want me to be busy." 7 times for a current client, that's a lot. And
I probably have 15 or 16
contacts a year
because they get a monthly newsletter.
A monthly newsletter from you.
Monthly newsletter.
So that's 12.
They get an AEP. An additional AEP, the newsletter is via email.
Okay.
And then they get for AEP, a actual mailed letter and an emailed one. Mm-hmm. And then we obviously meet probably once or twice, or at least converse over the phone. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I bet it's closer to 15.
So you're going way and beyond what I usually tell people. What I use, and again, that's perfect. We do a quarterly newsletter. That's actually, we'll get into that here in a little bit. We'll actually get into all of these here in a little bit more detail, but I want to talk about the marketing postcards, the holiday cards, and the birthday cards. I didn't put on here a thank you card, but that's kind of a given.
Oh, yes.
Do you send out thank you cards?
100%.
Do you do that? Do you do it per client? Do you do it per, what? Tell me about your thank you card situation.
I try to do them every Monday on the sales from the past week.
Got it. Okay.
Except during AEP. January is my
thank you.
I'm going to write all my thank yous from, which I hate that it's 2 months late. I really hate that. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times a phone call comes from it because, better late than never.
Yeah. Yeah. So
still means something.
So again, we do thank you cards. We talk about doing holiday cards. Everyone does Christmas. I vote Thanksgiving.
Yes,
I've talked about that. Doing your Thanksgiving cards, and then birthday cards. Those are just something that. And if you have a book of business that handwriting your cards is not possible, you're talking 500, 1,000, 5,000 clients, there's a really cool program out there called Handwritten. HANDWRYTTEN, and it is a robot arm. So it's actually handwriting, and you can even upload, if you want to spend some extra money, you can upload your own handwriting and a robot arm. So it'll be just doing this.
So that what
a robot will do a pen on a piece of paper, so it's not printed on it, it's written on it. But it's a robot arm.
Well, so what is it that maybe you know what we use?
You're impressed.
I have to write the alphabet. Yes. And then I give it to our marketing person.
You guys probably use handwritten.
Probably, really?
Yeah, because you upload an alphabet, and then the robot arm.
Okay, because it looks all the letters look handwritten.
It's not printed into the card. It is written on the card.
No way. Mm-hmm. I'm watching your playback of your arm.
I just really enjoy that. That's a fun thing I'm going to do now. Okay. But that's really cool. There's also, if you don't want to go that far, you can actually use send out cards too and just upload. If your CRM says, here's a list of birthdays that I have this month, send out cards does the same thing. It's but it's printed on the card. You can upload your handwriting and it's printed on the card. For those more mass marketing style.
Thank you, Brian, for that. I've heard it's cheaper to retain your first spouse than get a second one.
I think the studies would show.
I think the
studies would show that you're right. So that's one thing. Let's get into a little bit more details about what these retention activities can be. So, first of all, we talked about a newsletter. Carrie said that you do a monthly newsletter.
It's more of it's not
That's awesome.
Okay, maybe I'm using, it's not a newsletter. It's more of a is it a blog? Would it be a blog? I don't know. I need to pull it up.
Okay.
It's just about I think one of the ones recently was about how hearing aids are over the counter.
Mm-hmm. So there's updates, a monthly
updates. Yeah. In October or November, it was the new Part B premiums.
Yeah.
and deductibles.
So I love
on
newsletters.
Various topics.
We actually make them for our agents. We do a quarterly one, so they go with the seasons. And so you have a winter, spring. You guys know what seasons are. And it's really cool because they'll talk about, like, in the winter, they'll talk about, like, ways to avoid a fall this winter from ice. In the summer, it'll be, like, fun summer things to do with your grandkids. So it's stuff that not necessarily, and, like, there'll be some things and they're like, hey, ask me about your cancer insurance. Or, like, one thing, but for the most part, it's just, like, staying front of mind. Just being something that's, like, you know, just being somewhere that is like, hey, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just genuinely trying to keep my name in front of you.
Do you keep, or would you count this as a retention, or as a reach out? Because we also send I don't know if it's like 30 or 60 days after they become a new client, a request for a testimonial.
Ooh, yeah, so we use that Rocket Referrals.
Those. Yes, for Rocket
That's
Referrals.
A really, and like I love asking for testimonials and love versus asking for referrals. It feels so much more natural. It's to say, like, hey, and, like, it's a really cool thing that, like, you can send out an email and they can, like, rank you 1 to 10. If they rank you,
leave a comment.
Exactly, leave a comment. And then you can post those comments on your social media. You can post those comments on your website, things like that.
I make a testimonial, like, Canva graphic of what my testimonials are.
Yes, Testimony Tuesday. That's a big Facebook thing. Mm-hmm. That is absolutely a touch point. Because all a touch, and that's really great. Like, let's define what a touch point is. Getting your name, your logo, your brand in front of your client. That's a touch point. Boom. It doesn't mean you calling them, you physically interacting with them, you doing something. A touch point is just keeping your information in front of them. Oh, and Michelle says, I like newsletters, but I wish they had a less colorful version. Ink is so pricey. Michelle, that's really good feedback for our team to have. So I will take that back to our marketing team who creates our quarterly newsletter and maybe come with an option that doesn't require so much color, a black and white option. And the idea with the newsletter is that you should be able, let me go back here. The newsletter, you can email them. They are designed to be mailed, but you can email them. The problem with emailing them is that people don't open attachments because even just like that one extra step of having to open an attachment, it's crazy how much people won't do that.
So ours is because I get it. Mm-hmm. I want it sent to me too. Mm-hmm. And it's like my picture is like the very first thing so they know it's not like some scam. It's my picture and like the title.
Yeah. And never make the title.
It's not an attachment.
Never make the title newsletter. That's another thing. If you are going to email it, never have the title of the email be newsletter because people will they won't open it because they be like, oh, that's not important. Yeah. So, like, what if you're going to do it via email, have the title of it be like a point in there. Yeah. Like fun things to do with your grandkids, you know, cinnamon roll recipe, whatever you have in there. But it is really cool. They say, like, that if they look, like, on social media, there are 3 things that people really pay attention to. The number one above everything.
Is it food?
Is food. Oh, above, like, drugs, sex, and rock and roll. Food is the number one thing that people will actually spend more time looking at on social media. So putting food and things like that.
That's true for myself.
Yeah. Oh my God. Same. I can't cook, but you know how many recipes I have saved? I've never made a single one of them. But how many recipes I have saved that, like, I'm gonna make that one day. One day is not today.
Someday I'm gonna own half an insurance shop and a bakery. It's gonna be insurance while we have cookies and muffins.
Yeah, listen. That actually is going to go into another retention hack that somebody else put on here. We'll get into that. Another cool retention thing is follow-up calls. And again, like this is something that not every communication with your clients needs to be, let me sell you something. Because if every single communication with them is, let me sell you something, they're eventually going to quit taking your phone calls.
For sure.
So some of those communications need to be like, hey, I just wanted to check to see if you made your dentist appointment. I wanted to check to make sure that you, it's been 3 months. Want to make sure, have you filed any claims? How was your experience like? So the check-on phone calls are not sales. They'll quit answering your phone calls.
That's what I really like, the educational email every month, because a lot of times they'll write back like, hey, can you tell me more information about this? Or I've also had this happen twice recently. The newsletter went out and somebody wrote back and was like, hey, I keep forgetting to give you I need to give you my updated address.
Big news.
So like it also sparks them that they need to reach out to you also.
I just love it. And again, it's something that even if you don't have the time to do it, if you have an administrative assistant, they have, like, that's something that's perfect for your administrative assistant to handle. It's just another contact, another touch point. If you are on your own, it does keep you a little on the busy work, but like Carrie said, there's so many times where they'll call you like, hey, while I got you, I have a question about this, that, or the other. So it's really great to help you be productive. The next thing I want to talk about is just strictly, like, just be seen. I know, like, I love when I'm working with agents that they say, I don't do any marketing. I don't do anything. All of my new clients come from referrals. I don't do anything besides that anymore. Well, like, think about it like this. Like, McDonald's, they still advertise.
Oh, yeah.
Pepsi does the halftime show. Like, they spend millions of dollars on advertising. Coca-Cola. These brands that, like, I don't mean to hurt any feelings, but these brands that are way more popular, way more used, way more known than yours are still doing a heavy amount of investing into their marketing. So just continuing to make sure, like, even if you are very secure in your prospect, like, all of your marketing should be prospecting, but it should also be your retention.
Absolutely.
Keeping your name, keeping your agency name, keeping your logo, your brand in front of your clients.
One of the things that I focus on a lot during first quarter is not only retention of my clients, but retention of my strategic alliances.
That's so true, yeah. Don't forget those.
And I just yesterday was scheduling a meeting with one of my financial advisors. They love for me to come in like once a year and like give like a Medicare update or just talk to them about what's going on basically in the Medicare world. And so I try to do that. They reached out to me initially to do that. And I was like, I should do that with all of them because it's another touch point.
Yeah, and it's just, again, something that's not, I'm selling to you, please send me more clients, please send me more referrals. It's like, no, like, let's work together and just stay top of mind. It's what I talk about. If you guys heard me do any trainings, it's what does Kleenex do? What does chapstick do? Yep. People don't say, pass me a facial tissue. They say, pass me Kleenex. You need your name to be synopsis with insurance. And if you're not visible, that doesn't happen. So just keeping that in mind. The next one I wanted to talk about, we got two more. Actually, I skipped one. Cross-selling. We all know the LIMRA study back from 2012 that still reigns so incredibly true is that if a client has one policy with you, they're about 30% likely to stay with you as a client. If they have two policies with you, I'm used to the webcam being there. If they have two policies with you, then that comes up to a little around 70%. They're about 70% likely to stay with you, be loyal to you as an agent. If they have three policies with you, that jumps over to 90%. So if somebody has three policies with you, they're only 10% likely to make a change to a different agent. I call this like the Apple approach. And you guys know me.
Oh man, you know I'm all Mac.
I have an iPhone.
Yep.
I have an Apple Watch. I have the iPad. We're currently recording this on a Mac. My personal computer is a Mac. I am honed in. And the reason is because okay, I'm going to say this and it's going to be controversial. Are Android products superior? Maybe. In some capacities. Maybe. But everything else I have is through Apple. Yep. And all my Apple products work together. And they're all synopsis with each other. So if I'm going to go out and invest in new technology, it's going to be something that I already have all my stuff through. Yep. I already have my iCloud account. I don't have to set up anything new. I have all of it in one place. It's the Apple approach. Now, Apple does not give good customer service.
Yeah.
Apple doesn't have the best products out there, but they have me trapped because I have all of my other tech is through Apple, right?
Everything you're saying right now is a perfect example of why I partner with financial advisors.
Okay, I want to hear it.
Because people go to financial advisors for their retirement. A lot of times it's for life insurance. A lot of times it's for estate planning, tax planning. They go there for everything. But many financial advisors don't have a Medicare piece.
Right.
That's why they love bringing me in because it's something else. It's one missing piece. It's a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
Cost them nothing. It makes them look better. It was just a really good example. I never thought about how that's the sole reason of why I think partnering with financial advisors works so well.
The way that you do it, too, is that you don't give money for the referrals because that's not the value to them. The value to them is your services. Yep. And that's how we need to be.
For sure. Yeah, I've never paid any of them.
Nailed it. So again, just making sure, again, the cross-selling is also the cheapest profit like we talked about. It's 5 times more cost effective or cheaper to even work with your current book of business than it is to go out there and find a new piece of business. So making sure, like, if you're looking at revenue, which as a business owner, you should always be looking at revenue, your revenue will go way up if you continue to sell products to your current book of business. And now I'm never going to tell you, like, hey, you should sell somebody, like alien abduction insurance because you make more money off of that. That's not how I tell people. Like, don't sell product to somebody. Don't sell, like, ovarian cancer insurance to a man. They're not going to need that. Like, I don't want you to sell things.
Really good examples you've got here.
You laugh. I actually worked with an agent.
Loving them.
Worked with an agent back in the day that he did do alien abduction insurance. Like, not ironically.
That is not a thing.
No, I swear. Now, this would have been 2013,
There's no policy for that.
He had a company, and, like, that, like, literally it was, like, advertised on his website. It was alien abduction insurance.
Stop.
Yeah, I don't even remember his name or anything. I just remember that was, crazy. Anyways, not crazy. I mean, if something happens, he's set. He's set. Like, honestly, he's gonna have the last laugh. Man. But so making sure that you're only sticking to policies that you believe in, that you would feel comfortable purchasing yourself. Because if you're not gonna purchase it, why would you sell it to somebody? Right. So if you don't have cancer insurance on yourself, can you confidently sell cancer insurance to your clients? If you don't have DVH on yourself, can you sell it to your clients? So only work with carriers and products that you truly believe in. But no, like, if you don't believe in those products, come talk to me.
Yeah.
Come talk to me, because I need to change your opinions on those, because they are for sure worth it. For sure worth it.
For sure. And not to, I don't know why all these topics keep making me think of strategic alliance
This is quite literally why you're here.
But
so live your life and tell the people.
Well, just cross-selling. Also, use your referral partners to cross-sell too. So something I just did this morning.
Oh my God, I'm so happy.
I reached out to a couple of so I just hired somebody in Kansas City. I'm trying to grow my business in Kansas City.
You hired someone in Kansas City?
Yeah.
What are they doing for you?
Assistant-ish roles plus.
And you're doing that virtually? Growing,
yeah.
Oh my God.
I know.
We should have talked about that.
But I reached out to I have probably 5, we're one unit, financial advisors that I work with. Mm-hmm. I asked them, do you know any financial advisors that you can connect me with in Kansas City? So ask your referral partners if
for referrals?
Yeah, because for referrals.
That's
and
awesome. They
were like, oh, I'd be happy to send you to blah, 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 blah.
That's so cool.
So it was just an easy handoff.
Yeah, because I think people assume that, like, they're not going to do that because that's their competition. They're not going to want to help their competition. But all of these industries are so small and tight knit and full of friends.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, these people know each other, and it's not cutthroat. They may not. I was working with an agent that was actually doing a coach's program. He's like, I'm not going to tell you what the secret spices are, for a KFC reference. I'm not going to tell you about those spices, but I'll help them cultivate their own spices. Yeah. And it's crazy, like. Yeah, there are people, like, there's friends in the industry out there, just like agents are.
Well, and a lot of these, like, Edward Jones is everywhere.
Right.
Like, a couple of the advisors were Edward Jones. They obviously have offices over there. Right. Or it was, like, a financial department of a bank here. Well, they also have a branch in Kansas City.
Yeah, so that just makes sense.
So, yeah, makes sense.
It was rising tides make all ships sail.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
I went too far.
Slide number 7.
Okay. This is what you guys had to say. I took some of the recommendations from that Facebook post, and these are just some really cool ideas that people said, this is what we do to help with our retention. Same day responses. If you can't do same day, I always say, like, set the expectation. So, like, on your emails or on your what's it called, voicemail, just say, I will be getting back to you within 24 hours, because, like, just setting the expectation. Because if I call you and your expectation for, like, same day is, like, I just need to get back to you before 5, I call you at 8 a.m. and I'm, like, mad that at 10 o'clock I haven't heard from you, that's ridiculous. 2 hours. Yep. But setting the right expectation. So I really like that one.
Yeah, I make sure all of my clients know I really only am in the office about 3 days a week.
Yes.
So I feel like I make that known multiple times so that they know I don't sometimes it's 48 hours before I get back to them.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Giving your personal cell number, I think just having, what I hear giving a personal cell number, my thought process is maybe, again, setting those expectations if you're not comfortable with that. I take that as giving alternative ways to communicate with you for text.
Love to text.
So making sure, like, if
it's
you know, if
crazy
you're
how
saying,
much I text now with
right?
clients.
Isn't that
it's
wild?
So crazy.
And I was working with the agency the other day, like, oh, my people, like, they don't even have cell phones. And I'm like, you're an agency in a city. Like, you're not in the backwoods. You know, I can understand some areas are different than others, but no, your baby boomers are way more tech savvy than you give them credit for. Quarterly calls, that was somebody who says, I call my people every 3 months versus that's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work.
But
Good for you.
They swear by it. Wow. Offering tea and coffee at meetings. Listen, it's a little thing, but, like, if you can make it, like, a luxury experience.
Sure. Man.
So I'll tell you, I obviously don't go often enough, but my hairstylist, whenever you make an appointment with her, she'll ask you tea, water, coffee, wine.
What?
And so when I get my hair done,
where is she located?
I get a glass of red wine every single time, and it's, like, a cheap, like, Aldi's bottle, which is my love language, is cheap wine. And it is literally like, it's nothing. And literally it's just a glass and just the luxury that I feel from that.
You're being pampered.
I'm pampered. And so it's silly that, like, just the littlest thing of offering, like, a little cookie, a tea, things like that, it does make a huge difference. Yep. Automated emails, like we talked about that, just kind of keeping your name, your logo, keeping yourself in front of them. Somebody said they put confetti in birthday cards.
In the cards. That's
She's like,
hilarious.
I put like a little, now careful, never glitter. If you send my mother-in-law a glitter card, she's mad at you. She would literally, I have a giant glitter reindeer that I have to have every Christmas because one time my husband and I sent her a card that had glitter in it, and so she retaliated by giving me a giant glitter and it hurts her feelings if we don't put it out. Anyways, that's a story for another time.
Yeah, no glitter.
And then we had a gift to your clients when you hear they're unwell.
So I've been wanting to do this. There's been a couple clients who I've known that have like told me that they had cancer, and I sent them kind of like a special card. But a gift could be. I think anything, a gift card, a little card, an edible arrangement, whatever you have, or, like you can send something, even if it's just like $5 worth of something, just to say like, hey, I'm thinking of you, I care about you, you're not just a financial investment to me, it's you, we have a relationship. Yeah. Because people want to work with their friends, right? Oh, yeah.
And so if you can just make yourself like, let me love you, let me be your friend, doing things like that are definitely going to put you in that frame reference.
One thing I was really good at doing, and I'm realizing as we've been talking that I'm getting worse at it, but I used to, obviously we meet with a lot of retirees. I used to write down if they said their retirement date, and I used to send them like a little email or like text or
like congratulations on your retirement.
Yeah, happy retirement. I hope you so whatever. We're just remembering how bad I'm getting at doing that now.
Gotta be careful of that. My mom, quote unquote, retired, I think 6 years ago. Her and I took a mother-daughter trip to Maine and did that. And we literally did this whole thing for her retirement. And that was 6 years ago. And she is still there.
Still.
So sometimes they lie about their retirement, regardless of their situation. But that's really cool. Again, just like things like I'm thinking of you. It's again, it goes back to love. Did you know they're making a 6th love language? Like they had the 5 love languages.
What's the 6th?
Which is like, it was like gifts, quality time, physical touch, words of affirmation, and one that's obviously not what we are.
Not what we are.
Quality time.
Did you say gifts?
I said gifts,
that's not
words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch.
Come on, guys. Somebody's got to know the 5th one here.
There's a 5th one. But anyways.
What's the 6th one going to be?
So the 6th one, they're calling it, it's kind of like it's basically saying, it kind of goes with gifts.
Waffle House.
Waffle House is Brian's love language. It kind of goes with gifts, but it's basically saying like, reaching out, being thought of when unprovoked. So like saying like, I saw this, not a gift, not because a gift, because it's bound to acts of service. Yes. Which that's my husband's. Like that's bad that I couldn't think of that. Anyways, it's like I saw this and thought of you and got it for you.
Man.
I heard this song and texted you to make you feel. It's like being thought of. Yes. Being in somebody's thoughts. that's an act of a love language that they're adding. So, anyways, that to be said, your people want that.
Do you do the, like, Enneagram stuff? I always say that wrong. There are some people that are, like, hardcore, like, live and breathe their number.
Yeah.
And I'm not certain what my number is. I've never done the test.
I don't do personality tests because I don't know which personality is going to show up that day.
Yeah.
So I saw this thing. It's like, my husband, he's so lucky. Not only does he give me, but he gets like 3 other personalities. And I just give so
He's
much.
so lucky.
So lucky.
Gosh.
So lucky. Well, guys, that is what we have to talk about today for retention. We do really appreciate you guys, commenting and asking questions on your Facebook, on the Facebook page, Medicare Cafe Facebook group.
And throwing out those topics. Love
them. And again, that's just so cool.
We want to talk about what you want to hear about.
Exactly. What do you guys want to talk about? Because we want to talk about it too. So let us know. Put some ideas out there. We'll maybe do some like a poll or something on the Medicare Cafe Facebook group. So join that.
I don't know how to do that. I'm sure Ben does.
Ben does. Ben and Clayton, you guys will see their mugs on there a lot. They do a lot of like industry updates, carrier updates, things like that on there. So that is what we have for you guys today about retention. Any question, comments, concerns, threats, or promises, you can text the group right here.
Text her.
Text us. Right now, it's just Brian blowing me up about he's saying, I'm an emotionally unwell. Very well, Brian, we do know you're both emotionally, mentally unwell, and that's okay. But we love you for that.
Yes.
We love you for that.
You keep it light always.
We do. That is true. That is true. I can't wait for you to meet Brian.
Someday, I know.
He's like 6'12".
Whoa.
And like 130 pounds. Yeah.
Okay.
He's like he's a cool dude. Regardless, even like he eats pounds of Waffle House. Kudos to you, Brian. We need some string bean fitness tips.
Okay.
Yes. So, you guys have a fabulous rest of your day. We'll see you on next Tuesday when we talk about more things going on with the Medicare industry. And if you guys missed any of our last videos, last week we talked about the compliance updates, the proposed compliance updates. Which is it's hard to say.
It is.
Which is going to potentially rock some worlds. And also this week, guys, it's Medicare Quick Start. So if you're wanting a refresher or wanting to, kind of get back to basics, or you're new and looking for some guidance, it's today through Friday, 11 o'clock every single day. Today we're talking about Medicare 101, which is boring. That's my least favorite day.
You know what? I think how everybody talks about Medicare 101 is really educational. Yeah. Or it's really beneficial because everybody explains Medicare differently.
That's true.
But you just might find a little snippet.
I like how they did this.
You might find a snippet that helps you present to your clients.
That's true. That was a good spin on that. Thank you.
Yeah.
You guys have a great rest of your day. So until next time, have fun.
Make money.
And give impeccable service. Thanks, guys.
See ya.